Incoming transmission standby. Welcome to the Nod News Network. According to media reports, Madrid's position on implementing sanctions is that only direct arrivals need to have their luggage checked according to EU regulations. The Spanish tax authority, AEAT, which is also responsible for controlling the country's customs, has no intention of confiscating the personal belongings of Russian tourists, the Russian news agency TASS reported. Last week, the EU called on member states to closely monitor Russian tourists to avoid possible sanctions. The European Commission's initial guidance stated that even items such as shampoo and clothing were subject to inspection and possible confiscation, but they later admitted that personal goods pose little risk of customs evasion. Madrid said its agents will not confiscate mobile phones, jewelry and items carried by Russian tourists in their luggage unless they come directly from Russia, according to an explanation quoted today, Thursday by TASS. However, seizures can still occur if problems arise that are not related to sanctions. Spain has no land border with Russia and there have been no direct flights between Russia and the EU since the first weeks of the conflict in Ukraine. Brussels has restricted trade with Moscow as part of a US-led economic pressure campaign. The first reading of the EU policy, which implied that Russians could even be forced to undress before crossing the border, caused outrage in the country. Maria Zakharova, a spokeswoman for the Foreign Ministry, accused the bloc of displaying racism. Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia have imposed a ban on cars registered in Russia after reaching a joint decision on how to follow guidance from Brussels. Estonian Interior Minister Lauri Läänemetsa said he supports the crackdown on vehicles with Russian license plates already in his country. The EU explains that these vehicles should be confiscated and no longer allowed to leave Europe, he said at a press conference on Thursday. I wonder why these cars with Russian license plates are being driven in Estonia or why a person living in Estonia owns a car with Russian license plates, the minister added. This has been the Nod News Network, transmission complete.